Hi, I'm Brad Knowles, producer of Friday Night Flies, hosted by Scott LeBoldis and Scotty Holmes. Enjoy the show.
Alright guys, here we are once again at the White River Fly Shop at Bass Pro in Tawasin. Today, I've got a steelhead fly for you. I was kind of on the fence. I was going to maybe share a guide to fly that I've used for the last couple of years that works for just about everything. Instead, I decided to go with an easy steelhead fly. So you may have to wait on that one. So this one's pretty simple. Doesn't take a lot of materials. Swims really good in the water. Lots of movement in this fly. So it'll be great for a variety of species. Especially probably saltwater species as well. Again, lots of movement in this fly, really realistic, or not really realistic, depending on what kind of colors you go with, but realistic movement, I should say. And it goes together pretty quick, so if you're in a pinch and you got a steelhead trip coming up, definitely give these ones a try. So it's called the string leech. Yeah, that's about it. This is one I've done in pink, blue, and black. I'll give you a close-up here in a little bit. But yeah, let's head on down and get going. Alright guys, so this is the string leech. As you can see, it's quite a long fly. It's probably about 4 inches long or so. A couple different colors there, nice orange bead on the head, a little bit of flash. Tied in that hook the same way that I do as the chum dumpster. So I won't put a hook on this video, but if you check out that video, you'll see how I've done that. Goes together pretty easy. So this is an easy one to mess around with colors and stuff like that. This one obviously black, blue, and pink. Pretty classic steelhead colors. The one I'm going to do today is going to be blue, purple, and black, because why not? I'm going to add a few other things as well to get a little more flash in the collar and stuff like that. So anyways, let's get to work here. So in the vise, in the mongoose, I've got a 25mm articulation shank, and what I've done is I've cut off that little nub that comes on them, and I've got a 5/16 bead, I believe. I'll put it in the comments. You can go bigger as well. This one on here is a smidge to the next size up, which is quite a large bead. Just to help add some weight and get some a little more movement, jigging action in the fly. So I got some 210 Danville in white here. Just going to start that, kind of dress the shank a little bit. And this one, it's kind of like an articulated fly, but not all at the same time. So for the movement and the wiggle in the tail, and where we touch our stinger, I've just got some 50-pound J braid here. You've seen me use this stuff before. You buy a spool of braid and it'll last you forever. It's kind of stiff, but once it gets in the water, it gets really supple and it moves really well in the water. So you can make this fly as long as you want. So I'm just going to put it like so. And I'm going to cinch that down on top. Thread color doesn't really matter. I'm using white just to show you a little trick on how to finish off the fly. I really like white for streamers. It's a very versatile color for thread. I'll show you at the end here when we finish it off why I like the white so much. So I'm just going to really lock that braid in. I'm going to double it over. That way it's not going to come loose on you. Not that I've ever had a fish rip out any of the braid or anything like that before. Helps to have, just got to sharpen my slicks here, they're getting a little dull. Not the end of the world. When you tie enough, that does happen. The beauty of these razors, you can take them apart right there, and you can sharpen the one side. You don't want to sharpen the serrated side. So there we go, I got my braid locked in there, that's not going anywhere. And I'm going to add a little bit of dubbing. Don't really need to on this fly, but a little bit extra flash, never hurt anybody. So for the color here, I got some holographic purple diamond dub from Superfly. This is a pretty cool material. Just going to dub that on my thread. And we don't need much here. May even have a little bit much here. So yeah, with the colder weather, it's got me thinking ahead to steelhead. Me and Jordan were out the other day. He got a really nice coho on a little secret fly that he's been doing up, a new one. I got a nice little bull trout. It's been pretty good fishing so far. So there we go. It's just a little ball of dub in there, just to add a little bit extra flash to this fly. And I think the rubber on the bottom of my vise is kind of doubled on itself here. Just give me a sec here. That's kind of why it's rocking around a bit. Yeah, whatever. We'll just deal with it. So, like I said, for the tail on this one, I'm going to go blue. So I got some fluorescent blue rabbit from Hairline here. I'm just gonna, this is a little trick I picked up from watching some YouTube videos, is you can kind of just pull the hair off the front of the leather, and it gives you a nice tie-in point and reduces a little bit of the bulk. So I'm just going to lock that down right on top, just ahead of that little dubbing loop there. I'm going to secure that in all the way up to the bead. And I'm going to trim this just to keep things nice and tidy, longer than the loop, because then when I put my hook on, it'll extend past. You can always trim it again after, just to keep things a little more manageable. I just pull the fibers up there, so I'm not cutting straight through, and that keeps in the nice taper to the rabbit strip. So there we go, we got that. And what I'm going to add now, a little more flash. So you've seen us use polar chenille before. Superfly has their own, which is kind of a cool color. This is the UV purple blue. It's going to be great for this fly. Kind of blends right in. I haven't used this one yet, so I just need to find where the end lives. Should be somewhere over here. There it is. So I'm just going to cut myself off a chunk here. It's a pretty cool color. Way to go, Superfly. He made a killer steelhead color here. Just like with Polymer chenille, I like to tie this. Everything's got a natural flow. So as you can see, it's kind of brushing this way towards the back of the fly. That's how I want to tie it in, with the fibers on the bottom. So I'm just going to tidy up that tie-in point. Tie that in right there. So this is just going to add a little bit of extra flash to the fly. There's not a lot of flash in this pattern. I'm not going to do much, maybe 2 or 3 wraps. You can put as much or as little as you like. I think I'm just going to go 2 on this one. Just like so. That actually looks pretty cool on this fly. Trim away that there. Kind of lick my fingers just to kind of push everything back a little bit. Kind of just wrap back on this just a bit. Now I'm going to tie in some Marabou. So I got some nice purple Marabou here. We're going to use just about the whole feather here. So just isolate a portion of the tip. I like to just wet my fingers, and that kind of gets the point to stay together. I'm going to kind of just wrap this in, fold the tip over. These feathers can be quite brittle, especially when you're tying in by the tip, so be careful, take your time. All I'm going to do here, I'm just going to pull all these fibers back. And I'm just going to wrap this. Again, you can go as heavy or as thin as you want. Just kind of one wrap in front of the other. So this is a pretty simple fly. You can knock these out pretty quickly, which is nice. Kind of just one more wrap there. I think I got 3 or 4 wraps there. I don't want to go too crazy. Marabou can get kind of tricky to work with. When you're tying this down, just going to get 2 wraps behind. I'm going to cut that tip, pull the rest out. Just make it a little more manageable. I'm just going to brush it out with my brush. Just make sure everything's flowing the proper direction. Just going to wet my fingers. I'm going to find that little nub that I cut off there. I'm going to really lock that down. Even wrap back on it just a smidge. There we go. Got a little bit of that flash sticking through. That's going to look really good in the water. Now to finish this off. Actually, hang on. I'm not finishing it off yet. Almost forgot. So I'm going to add a little side flash to this. So you've seen me use this before. I love this stuff. This is one of my favorite flash materials. This is crinkle mirror flash in pearl. Got it in quite a few different colors here. I'm going to take just 2 strands. I'm going to tie them in on my side. Right on the side of the fly. Kind of position it how you want. I'm pretty much using the whole length. I've got a couple little loose ends here. That's just so I can double it over. Just to really secure that in so it doesn't go anywhere. Trim away those. And I'm going to tie in 2 more strands on the other side. So again, I'm going to tie them in quite long. You can always trim them, which is kind of nice. Just a couple wraps there. Just position this right on the side, like so. Really cinch that down. As you can see, I can pull these over. I can wrap back on it if I can get out of that little trough that's in there. Ooh, come on, there we go. All right, you can kind of leave a little tag if you want. That way those aren't going to pull out. What I'm going to do for now, I'm going to tie these about the length of the rabbit, about there. There we go. So now that looks just like so. You can see lots of movement in this fly, which is nice. Now to top this all off, I have a black schlappen feather here. You know, it's one of our favorite materials here on Friday Night Flies. Let's find one here that I want to work with. Now this one I don't mind taking one that's got some Marabou on it. This is a fresh pack here, so it might take me. I haven't picked through it yet. Let's find out here. Be selective when you're using natural materials. Not all of them are going to be perfect. That's just the nature of the beast. I don't want this to cover up all the Marabou, but let's just see here. Still digging. Sorry, guys. Should have maybe picked one out ahead of time. Didn't think this pack was this fresh. Let's just go with this one here. This one looks pretty good. There we go. You can see it's got some nice Marabou to it. It's not too long. It's not going to cover up all the purple. What I'm going to do, I'm going to tie this in. We're going to use up quite a bit of this feather. So it's kind of nice when I did that blue and pink one. Those pink ones I actually used, that was the bottom half of the schlappen feathers that I used from my, my pink reaper fly. So this you can cut off the tip. Just cut yourself a nice little triangle. Save the tips. Use those for coho schlappens and other flies like that. I'm just going to tie that tip in nice and tight. That's really giving me a hard time there. There we go. Just going to kind of fill in that void behind the bead a little bit. There we go. Just going to run my scissors up the stem. This helps to just push the fibers back how I want. And I'll just encourage them a little bit too, kind of give them a pinch at the stem. And we're going to start wrapping. If I can get this to go here. There we go. Take your time. One wrap in front of the other. Kind of want to get it so you get a couple wraps right at the bead. So when we get to the Marabou part of the feather, I just want one single wrap. So adds a little bit more fullness to the fly. It actually is fairly sparse, this pattern. There's not a lot to it. Just trim away the stem, pull that out. I'm just going to wrap back on this a little bit. Really secure that in. See, I left myself a little bit of a nub there. That just makes it easier to tie in here. Left myself a bit of a collar there. Not the end of the world. So this is why I like to use white for my streamers. You can actually take Sharpies and you can color your thread to match it whatever you want. Say you want a little hot spot. This way you don't have to swap out thread. You can just add in the finishing touch as you finish the fly. So I just go ahead, flick that back. Now I'm just going to finish the fly here. Just going to whip finish here. As you can see, that black Sharpie really hides the color of the thread there. If I wanted, I could have made that orange, pink, blue, whatever color you want. Again, just a little white sticking out there. There you have it, the string leech. Again, super easy pattern to tie. You can see that it's got a lot of movement to it. Easy way to fill your box. And again, if you haven't seen the Chum Dumpster video, go check it out. I show you how to rig in a stinger hook there. On this guy here, I've got the Marabou hot pink one. Stinger hook, these come barbless, which is nice. They're wicked strong hook too. I use these for my chum flies and they do not bend at all. There you go, there's another pattern, another color there. Again, play around with it. You got your oranges, your reds, your greens, your pinks, your blues, your blacks, all that kind of stuff. Play around with it. Easy one to tie. All right, let's head on up and sign out. All right, guys, there you have it. String leech, kind of an older pattern. This one's been around for a while. Really popular up in Alaska for steelhead and salmon kings and chinook and all that kind of stuff. Cool one to play around with. So we've got the black, purple, blue, pink, blue, black, you name it, you can make it. Goes together pretty quick as well, like I said, so it doesn't take long to tie. Yeah, nothing much else going on down here. We've got Black Friday coming up. If you guys are interested in getting some early Christmas shopping going on, I've actually got a fly rod and reel combo going on for 90 bucks. Comes with an extra spool, floating line, pretty much ready to go out of the box. Got them in 5 weight and 8 weight. That starts next Friday. We're open at 6 a.m., so nice and early. I will be here, so pop on by, say hi. I'll be a little groggy, but be more than happy to help you get set up. If you're looking to get somebody a fly rod outfit for Christmas or a spare one for yourself even, they're pretty good value. So hope to see you guys soon. Hope you guys enjoyed the shows this week, and we'll see you next week.